welcome to the channel. Hey guys, so today we're gonna take this Wes Anderson's trailer of the Asteroid City, and we're gonna give it a different look. We'll clean it up, we'll make it look more of a kind of bluish look, kind of bleach. I would call it maybe a bleach look. Blacks are black, whites are white, and then we're gonna go boom from this bleach look, come back to the original look, see if we can come back to this look. Should be a good challenge. And then in part 3 we'll take the original and we'll try to splice it with our grade and see how close we got. Should be interesting. Let's go. Okay, so for the first phase of this video, we will create this look. We'll take the original look, which is the original colors from the Wes Anderson's Asteroid City, which are very warm, very lively, and then we're gonna convert it into this flat kind of Bleach Bypass look. This will be our starting look, basically. Yes. Now, how do we get to this look? So there's many different ways to do this. Let's add a couple notes. Control S, because we'll try maybe 4 different ways to get there. When you look at, like, let's say the white on the houses, these houses are supposed to be white, but there's a lot of green, a lot of red tint that I see in it. So right off the bat, so how do we white balance this scene? Well, many people like to do, I'm going to close these off for now. And I'm not going to create many notes, just try to kind of work with 1 or 2, just keep it basic, keep it very simple. There are plenty of tutorials out there about tree structures and all that good stuff. But for now, okay, so let's say we want to do this. So a couple ways to do it. One, very popular, people like to use the offset button to see if you can kind of convert this into the white look. Now, well, on my external monitor, I'll put all the other scopes on, but for now I'm just gonna work with this because this is a quick and dirty, just kind of get a bleach look. Anyways, talking too much, doing too little. Let's get going. So offset, so we'll call this we'll label it just so we know, and this is the offset method. Well, just offset, we'll call it offset. So the way you do it is you take this and now you can move it around and just kind of see, you know, where the whites were kind of, so you can try to find where you get to this like kind of bleachy white, less saturated kind of look. You see how a lot of this becomes white? So green is a little high, like you can kind of tell. So maybe too much green still. Maybe bring it down here to more, we're starting to blend. Maybe a little more blue. Let's see, and it's like, the thing with this is, see right there how it's kind of becoming white. So it's this part. So that's your white. That's your whites, right? So right there, that's your whites. So you're getting kind of close. You see how this kind of turned into white. So now if you kind of look at just off the bat, that's your white balance using the offset method. And then you can kind of clean up things how you want to, maybe add a little more punch to it, see where it lives, kind of on the waveform. This particular footage, I think before, was still kind of in the 256 to 768 kind of range. If you want, you can push it maybe a little further to give it that little kind of crispy, kind of bleach look. So this is our version. This is the original, a lot more color, a lot more warmth to it. Or this is, or maybe our bleach. Maybe you want. Number two method, you guys, and I highly recommend you try different sets, different ideas, combine all these features to your advantage. The way I see it, these are just paintbrushes and paint, and you kind of have to combine and use all these different settings sometimes, and there's many different ways to do this. So anyway, so maybe another way, maybe you want to try your curves. So we'll try to get this bleach bypass look using curves. One way to do this is a cool little trick that I've seen people use. You don't have to, you can use your own, but you take your qualifier, and if you're in the curves, and let's say you find something that you think it's white, boom. So let's pretend the shirt's supposed to be white. The qualifier will put it right there and show you where that lives, and see how the green is kind of on top, red is kind of below that, and then blue is up here. What that means is that these settings are, so it's not white. If the red was here and the green was here, red and blue all here, that means this would be your perfect white, but it's not. So the way to do it with the curve is, so you take this and you kind of put it so it's horizontally, all these line up. So see where this kind of lives before this line? If you take, technically, if you take it into its horizontal position, that should technically become white. Is it white? I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the red is too high. But you know, you can then tweak things. Maybe you want it to push it up a little bit. I mean, it's even though we're moving this point from where this originally was, but because these were kind of lined up, this is our white balance. See how, you know, the darkness and brightness changes, but the white balance really doesn't move too much. It seems to kind of sit in the same kind of area. So now you got this, you know, bleach kind of a look. This is our just starting point anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Another way to kind of get the bleach bypass look could be, for instance, maybe you want to use the dropper. So I'm going to call this auto white balance. So I personally don't mind using this. A lot of people are kind of looked down on people trying to do this, but for me, I want to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, and sometimes this really helps. So there's this little auto white balance. You bring it in, boom, took everything else, you know, and then you can kind of, you know, maybe move it up a little higher. Maybe bring the gamma, the low end, up a little bit. So maybe not so much. You know, you just kind of tweak these to your likings, figure out where you want it to sit here. That's how I do it. But the white balance was picked with this picker, which was pretty useful, I think, to get you to a happy place. I mean, it's a little maybe too much saturation, but you know, you drop down the saturation, all of a sudden you're going from this very warm look into this kind of reddish bleach bypass. Maybe you want to add some blues, so maybe, you know, you can then tweak this however you like to, but this is the auto white balance way to do it. So maybe, you know, the company, you can look at this and you can kind of tell that this whole footage is really well balanced. I mean, it's perfect. You know, it's really cool, really warm. So maybe, like, what if now we just want to kind of give it that bleach bypass by moving everything up a little bit, So maybe we'll open it up maybe to this point, and now you see like here, the green. The sky is very greenish. There's a lot of red in the clouds, and since we did some other things, so maybe this time we just, I mean, maybe I wouldn't recommend this way to do it, but you see this and just kind of say, well, where's this sitting? Well, look at this. Since the image was already perfectly balanced in this particular clip, all it was the color temperature was just basically shifted to the warmer space. Everything else seems to look really, really good, except for the color temp. Bring it back to where things are starting to look more white. Let's see how far we can go. That's probably more than enough. Then you can kind of tweak this to where you wanted to see it live. I mean, the skies are blue, so you see a lot of blue. The whites, well, that's hard to tell. So that's maybe in this particular example, all it needed was just temperature shift. So that could have been an easy fix right there. Let's maybe do one more. So let's say we take this look, add another serial. So now let's see, and I don't think this one works very often, but you know what? Let's do maybe the black dropper and see what happens. So see how it kind of got everything to black thing, but it's still very color. There's a lot of color, too much color. You could then tweak things, kind of brighten it up, get it to a point where you kind of like it to sit. Maybe add a couple of touches here and there. And I'm just making this up. I'm just painting with this. This is actually maybe not the best, not the best way to do it. But all of a sudden you go in from this look to wait, did something happen? To this look, and it took seconds to get us to this point. I am going to attach the file with the Bleach Bypass look to the description down below, and basically this will be our starting point for this color detective work. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Like I said, this is part 1 of this video. Part 2, we're gonna bring it back to this particular look, and then in part 3 we will compare our version of this final look to the Wes's version, the original, and see how close we got. Maybe I'm just full of, but I think we can get pretty close. All right, peace out.